Scholars, thanks for tapping in with another banger. Alex Alonso here. I'm sitting with the General, the East Side General, aka Frank Thornton, FG. What's going on?
Man, what's going on with you, Alex?
Oh man, I'm ready to jump into some of these topics, man. Our city's on fire. The government of our city is on fire right now.
Hey man, let's get into it then.
Yeah, well, we got to talk about that for sure. But let me start off with a couple of fact checks, man. On episode 32, when we spoke about the young lady, Nicole Litton, that crashed her car into all those people on Slauson and La Brea, we got to talking about Scott Peterson, who I said incorrectly was on death row. That's the dude that killed his wife. Mm-hmm. His wife was pregnant. The unborn fetus, they named him Connor, and they hit him with 2 bodies. He was sentenced to death, but I didn't realize in 2020 he had his death penalty conviction overturned, and they gave him LWOP instead.
Oh, okay. Yeah, I remember the Scott Peterson case. Yeah, I remember that clearly.
And I spoke about it with Spider on the episode that he guest host on, and he said that Scott Peterson receives like a bag of mail every week because I guess he's considered a celebrity, and the general public likes to tap in with him.
You know what? It's crazy how people, commit various crimes or on death row, and they get plenty of mail. I think Charles Manson used to get a lot of mail. You know what I mean? That's crazy.
Yeah, man. So, and plus, he was like that all-American white guy that all the women, thought was their dream guy.
No doubt.
Turns out to be a cold-blooded killer.
Murderer. Yeah.
Yeah. I don't know what gets into some people that. I've gotten mad at my wife many times, but to dig a hole and to bury her or to push her off a cliff, you got to be on a whole nother level, huh?
You got to be on a whole nother level, man. It got to be a whole nother level of madness for you to actually do some shit like that.
Yeah, man, it's bizarre, man. But he got LWOP'd, and I guess for some people it's better treatment to be in a prison setting that you're not on death row. You're not confined to just one area where you have more freedom and more flexibility to do things.
No doubt, but just to explain people to it's a lot of listeners we have that I'm sure that don't know what LWOP is. You want to go ahead and
yeah, that's basically they're saying he ain't never coming home.
No doubt.
But he's not going to get executed. Life without parole.
Yeah.
There's no way he'll ever get paroled for that conviction. But I understand that some people they do their time in different settings more comfortably. And being on death row is you don't have as much yard time.
Right.
You don't get as many visits.
Exactly.
Everything
is limited.
Yeah, everything is limited. So to a certain degree, he's living better.
Okay.
Yeah, but he's still in San Quentin, which is if I had to be in prison, I'd want to be in San Quentin because they got so many programs. Mm-hmm. They got all the universities up there in the Bay Area that like to do outreach work.
Right.
With all the inmates there.
No doubt. And then not to mention, if you're on the right unit, man, that view is just amazing, man. You couldn't even ask for a better one, Alex, to be honest with you.
Yeah, but then it gets cold during the winter.
Yeah, it do get chilly.
Yeah, you'll be freezing up there. Yeah. I heard that Ironwood prison, who was telling me this? Ironwood prison during the summer is so hot that you can almost die from heat exhaustion.
Oh, no doubt. And Ironwood and Chuckawalla, because they're right next to each other in the same vicinity. When I say right next to each other, I mean right next door to each other. It gets so hot up there, man. It's miserable up there.
Yeah, apparently they have these things they could put on a tier that blows cool air and mists, but there's no such thing as air conditioning coming into your cells, right?
Yeah, it is.
You can't, in the feds maybe.
Oh, yeah. In the feds, I'm thinking, Chuckawalla and Ironwood, that's state, yeah.
Yeah, do you think the state has air conditioning?
Well, it depends on how old the facility is. The newer facilities, of course, they do, but Ironwood and Chuckawalla, they may be a little older. But some of the facilities do have AC.
Oh, okay, I'm surprised. All right, well, yeah, I made a mistake on that Scott Peterson. I was completely unaware that this dude had his death penalty overturned, so he's serving all day still. Last week we spoke about the YG video, and we weren't sure exactly when Mozzy turned himself in, but I found an article. It was July 29th of 2022, so he's been gone for a couple of months, right? That would be all of August, all of September when this video dropped, so it's been over 2 months he's been gone.
No doubt, and I'm sure they didn't do it just right before he left. You know what I mean? So It could have been, 3-4 months when they did that video.
Yeah, and in fact, I'm gonna try to get a little insight on that. We're gonna call the third rapper on that song. For those who don't know, "How to Rob a Rapper," YG featuring Mozzy and D3, and we're gonna try to tap in with D3 in a little bit. But also, last week you mentioned that YG. I was gonna say FG. YG pulls up in a '58 Chevy. How do you know that's a '58 and not a '59?
Oh, you could tell the difference.
Okay.
Now, when I first seen the video, first thing I said is, damn, he pulled up in a clean '58. Thing about it is, I could distinguish a '58 and '59 just like that. If I misspoke, that's one thing. But I remember seeing the '58 because the '59 have the fins. The '58 is more tucked in. The '59 and '60 have the big fins. The '58 is more tucked. And one thing about a Chevy from a '57 to a '69, '68, I'm gonna recognize.
Okay. Yeah, no, I was just saying that just from my own personal, because I know.
Oh, yeah, it's the back. It's the tail fins. The '59 got the super big tail fins. The '58 is tucked. I love them '58s, man.
And as '58 would be the first year, right, for the Impala?
First Impala, no doubt, yeah.
For some reason, I thought the '59 was the first year.
Yeah.
I forgot about the '58.
Yeah, well, they got the '58s, and before that, the '55, '56, they were Bel Airs, but that '59 clean, too. It's just that '58, '58, '57, those are some good years right there.
And then you said that Mozzy pulled up in a 4, right?
If I wasn't mistaken.
Yeah.
And then the video went by so fast and I couldn't see what the Mozzy put up in a tray or a 4, but the other guy, the videos, I just didn't remember what he pulled up in.
Yeah, D3, I forgot.
If I just see it again, I definitely could be able to,
Yeah. But no, I was just curious because man, those '58s and '59s, man, for those who don't know, I think if you get one that's clean, that's all hooked up, you're spending over $100,000 on it.
No doubt. And the crazy thing about it, Alex, is, I had a couple 62 Chevys myself, man. And I had, when I left, only reason I sold my 62 is just I didn't have nowhere to keep all this shit. You know what I mean? But had I kept it, it'd have been like real estate.
So you had a deuce before you caught your case?
Yeah, I had 2 deuces. Hell yeah.
And what are those deuces going for now in 2022?
Shit, my first deuce said, man, right now I could have got 60 or 70 for. You know what I mean? And but my second deuce I had when I left, I didn't cut it. It didn't have no hydraulics. I kept it stock. You know what I mean? And didn't do too much to it. You know what I mean? So just like that, clean as it was stock, could have got even a little more.
Yeah, but I remember back in like maybe the late '80s, early '90s, you could just buy a stock, maybe a deuce, a tray of 4 that maybe needed a little work for just a couple $1,000s.
Yeah, no doubt. I bought my first deuce. I think I bought it from a cat out of Denver Lane. Actually, he was in jail, and I went and bought it from his family over in Denver Lane hood and shit, man. And they gave me like the best deal in the world, bro. I'm talking about extra parts, had the fish scale emblems and shit, you know what I mean? And I think I paid like $4,000 or $5,000 for it. Engine was clean. All I had to do is put all the stuff together. And that don't happen no more.
Yeah,
a rust bucket right now costs $15,000. You know what
crazy.
Man, I'm telling you, man. The Chevys was investment. Whoever had some Chevys put up, they kind of hit the lick, man.
Yeah. I don't know. I sent you this article just recently, so you probably didn't get a chance to look at it, but we were talking about the feds also are not doing 85% on all offenses now.
Right. Did you do any research?
Yeah, I saw that they last year or the year before, so maybe 2020, 2021, that's been implemented.
Okay.
So there are a lot of defendants that are getting time and not having to do 85% now.
No doubt. Then they got some other programs and shit where they started where you can get to the halfway house, or you can get more halfway house or more at home time, so they trying, man,
Yeah, that's why Guy Reffitt is going to get out in probably a year and some months earlier than he would if he was forced to do 85%. Now, when you went to the feds, you did almost every bit of 85% of that dime, right?
No doubt, all of it, man. It was a couple reasons why, but that mandatory minimum was in place as well. So it was laws that changed. So I went with 10. Say if I had 13, I would have got it knocked down to 10. You know what I mean? But they couldn't go under the 10 based on the mandatory minimum. Even though they changed all the other laws, they didn't change that mandatory minimum. So you were stuck at that 10, you know what I mean?
But haven't they changed that mandatory minimum since then now?
No, what they did was they changed the law when it comes to cocaine and crack cocaine. What they did was they changed the threshold in order for you to get to the 10-year mandatory minimum. More drugs. You take a lot more drugs to get to the mandatory minimum than it did when I went. So they didn't change it. It take a lot more drugs to get there. But once you get to that threshold, you stuck at that. You know what I mean?
Okay, so basically they're saying that when they changed the threshold, they're saying maybe these guys that went to prison in the past and got that 10 years probably shouldn't have got the 10 years for the amount that they got.
Oh, no doubt. They said that. But you got to understand, Alex, it was a cold part thing about it. You changed the law. You said we were wrong. Let's fix the law. But you didn't fix the people that you had in prison. And one thing about changing prison sentences is people don't realize the politics that come to effect because the prison system is traded on as shareholder. You have shareholders for prison. So it's like a commodity. So you can't just let everybody commodity out and everybody's shares drop. You have to figure out a way to keep people in prison, keep that money in prison. It's a money thing. Keep that money in prison and find a new way to, get people in prison, because prison is a business, man, sadly to say.
Definitely. And even the parts of the prison system that's not specifically related to the prison, like other things like purchasing a typewriter or the commissary, where does all that food come from,
No doubt. Let me give you a quick something while we on this subject. They have the private prisons now. So what the private prisons do is say, if Alex build a prison and we deem your prison good enough to hold inmates, we're going to give you a contract. In this contract, Alex is going to say that we're going to keep your prison 80% full. If we ever go, so we're going to pay you for the inmates that's here. We're going to promise to keep it 80% full. But in your contract, we're going to also state that if it ever gets under 80%, we're going to pay you for the people that's not being here. Oh, it's a cold game, man. You know what I mean? So at the end of the day, man, when it comes to that money in that prison system, man, if people ever go do the homework, they may just double think about the when they get sentenced, crying about it, because they know this shit is bigger than just, your sentence. You know what I mean?
I even think the whole phone, giving inmates access to phone and having them make phone calls and call and collect, all those fees are part of a whole nother business that makes a lot of money.
No doubt. Not to mention, you were in there, you got Unicore, you making products in prison. When I was at Victorville, what they did over there was when the Humvees come from Iraq, the inmates would fix them back up to send them back to Iraq. You know what I mean? Renew the metal, renew the frames, renew the, you know what I mean? And this was a government contract that the prison system had. They were paying inmates, $200-$300 a month, say $400 a month, to work on these Humvees and get them back over there. But if you sent them out to somebody in a regular business, man, you'd be paying quadruple that. It probably, you know what I mean? 100 times that, you know what I mean? Cheap prison labor, something people don't know, that some of they shower curtains and so many things are made in prisons. They not even aware of. It's cheap labor. Is go back to the old,
I saw a documentary on the baseball bats, the Louisville Sluggers, that they sell out there in Louisville, Kentucky, are all made in prison. At least the far majority of those baseball bats are made in prison.
No doubt, you know what I mean? So, but your option is, when you go to prison, if you don't have no money, okay, if I can go over here and work in this factory job for $300 a month, and I'm not getting no money in, these dudes are going to go over here and work those jobs. I get it. I don't knock nobody who do it. You know what I mean? And but at the same time, that same job on the street, they like you said, they paying a dude $200-$400 a month, and a month. You know what I mean? When on the street, they'll be paying $200-$400 a day to the person doing those same jobs.
Man, they got jobs in the California Department of Corrections that pay inmates as low as 8 cents an hour.
Oh, no doubt. You know what I mean? I had one before. You know what I mean? And I told them, don't expect much of me, because you have to pretty much have a job if you're not going to school. When I was at Lompoc, they made street signs, stop signs. The signs is on the freeway to say, Los Angeles in 22 miles. You know what I mean? Those signs were made at Lompoc. You know what I mean? So, like I say, man, there's big money in the prison system. It's more than just, when they give you a sentence, it's more than just, your punishment. It's also money involved in that. A lot of politicians have money, and I'm gonna leave that subject alone. But it's entertainers that I know that have money invested in prisons that I don't support them. You know what I mean?
That's crazy that you can invest in prisons and some of the people who are invested. I heard a well-known black actor might be invested in prisons.
Well, I know for sure well-known.
I don't want to say his name because I'm not 100% sure.
I'm 100% sure about this, and I'm still not going to say a well-known black tennis shoe seller. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And you take this guy, he invests in prison. Now, it's his money. He get to do what he want to do with it.
Yeah.
But this guy invests in prison. I won't buy none of those shoes. You know what I mean? Me personally. And then you got another guy over here that invests in education. You know what I mean? This guy sending kids to college. This guy invested in prison. You know what I mean? And I'll buy his tennis shoes. I won't buy this guy's shoes, though. That's just my personal preference, though.
Well, according to The Guardian, U.S. prisoners produce $11 billion with a B worth of goods and services.
Damn.
$11 billion with a B.
Damn, I didn't realize it was that much, but I know they do. I know it's a business, man.
But, the NAACP is actually trying to push a line on increasing the labor rates for prisoners to be at least minimum wage. So that'd be like, what, $11, $12?
Man, I mean, you don't even know how awesome that would be.
Yeah.
I mean, just to be honest with you, you don't even know how I mean, for a person, like you say, some people go to prison and their family, a lot of people go to prison and their family leave them. I'm paying my time, doing my time, it don't mean I shouldn't be able to eat, though. Shouldn't be able to buy deodorant and you things of that nature. So if they were to ever do that, man, that'd be awesome.
Yeah, that'd be a cool little bit of money if you're making minimum wage in there.
No doubt, shit. Hell yeah.
And it shouldn't be any less than minimum wage.
No doubt.
All right. Hey, man, did you hear about the young rapper from Neighborhood Pyro in Inglewood got shot down here in the Wilshire area?
I did, man. You know what I mean? And
Half Ounce,
man. And what people don't know is Half Ounce got one of the coldest roll call songs out there, man. He put it in. He
mentioned your homeboy in one of the songs, too.
Yeah, no
Tup,
doubt.
Right? Did he mention Tup?
He mentioned Tup, you know what I mean, in the Cross Atlantics, man.
Yeah.
But, I mean, he mentioned the Cribs. He went in on that song.
Hey, I was reading one of the comments. They said that the way he wrote this song, can't nobody hate on him.
Nah.
And then at the end, he even said, I want to shout out the earth or something crazy like that.
Yeah. Nah, that was a hell of a song, man. But it was just tragic, man. That, these dudes are getting killed, man,
Yeah, man. I knew Half Ounce, man. I did an interview with him in 2013, man. I can't believe it's been 9 years since then, man. It was a cool dude, and I followed his career. He was hooked up with Mitchie Slick in San Diego, and I think he was underrated. You go back and listen to his stuff, man. Yeah. It was pretty good.
And that's the thing about it. I went back and had listened to some songs that I had never heard. I was like, damn, how I missed this? You know what I mean? I guess everything is marketed and advertising, but I missed it. There was a couple I missed that I damn sure would have bought,
No, he was, I guess he was kind of stuck in that area because I think as an artist that you're from the streets, you're from your set, you can only do that so much if you want to go to the next level. And I think we got to look at Nipsey as the blueprint. When he first came out with Bullets Ain't Got No Name, he was gang banging. And he transitioned, into doing some other type of music. And Half Ounce was gang banging on the songs a couple months ago.
No doubt. You know what I mean? And to mention, like I say, he mentioned Big Tup in that song, and Tup is another one, I try to tell Tup, in order to evolve, you have to go outside the realm. But if you go back to Big Tup and him and Mitchie Slick and them and a bunch of other cats, they had that song out years ago called Won't Stop Being the Blood.
Yeah.
And Big Tup, had my picture. I was gone then, and Big Tup had my picture in the video. But at some point, in order to elevate, you do have to go outside the realm so other people can appreciate your music,
Definitely, man. He was only 32 years old, Half Ounce. He was only a couple weeks away from turning 33. A lot of people think there's something with this 33, the age 33. Nip was 33. Of course, Jesus Christ was 33. Half Ounce was about to be 33. I'm not into numerology or anything like that, but he was born 1989, and I just posted a video of him on the Street TV channel, so tap into that if you want to see some never before released footage that I had of Half Ounce. So go check that out there. And then How to Rob a Rapper video. It just hit 1 million views,
Oh damn,
and it's only been up for a week.
man, that's
So,
good. That's
yeah,
good.
that's real good.
Yeah, that's real good.
And I wanted to tap in with D3, who's the third guy on the album. I'm not sure if I can get him on the line, but I'm gonna try. But there's been a lot of criticism about the release of that song because it's kind of coinciding with the death and the investigation of PnB Rock. But we tried to set the record straight that song was done way before.
No doubt, you still have some people that didn't want to do the homework and see exactly what we were saying, but basically we were just basically saying that it wasn't wrong for him to put it out, in my opinion, and shit, because like I said, it had already been done, and if you got it over there, hey, at some point you're gonna have to drop it. Some people gonna feel it's insensitive, but hey, man, like you said, it did 1 million views already.
1 million views already in a week. And let me just tap in here with D3 and see if we can get him on right now.
Hello.
D3,
What's the deal?
we're doing Streets and Scholars. This is Alex right here, and I got FG right next to me, man. And we just want to ask a couple questions about this video that you guys just dropped.
Hold on real quick.
This guy told us to hold on, and we live on Streets and Scholars right now.
But we live?
Yeah.
Oh, no, it's good. Come on.
All right, so FG and I are we're doing an episode of Streets and Scholars, and we actually talked about the video last week, and we figured out that this video was done way before the PnB Rock situation happened. Can you give us some insight into when you shot this video and when it all came about?
Man, so the How to Rap Rapper song was made probably like 6 months ago. Matter of fact, this was made last year.
Mm-hmm.
This was made last year around my birthday, around May. It was in Miami, we made that shit. But yeah, like, the homie keep it 100 was going on in the streets. Like we from LA, so we talk about our life, what we go through and what we surrounded by. So all that robbing shit been going on. So it ain't nothing about like RP to PnB Rock. Everybody like got stuff to speak on it, because around the time it dropped and due to his death, everybody think the song is about that, and it's not.
No doubt.
It's just that's what happens in LA, like,
Yeah, and it's definitely been going on and shit. What's going on, D3? This FG, homie.
What's good with you?
Oh man, you know what I mean? I felt the same way, you know what I mean? I didn't think you guys took no shot at the dude, you know what I mean? I really think, like you say, this shit really been cracking a long time. And the song, I felt that, some dudes gonna learn from it, you know what I mean? And yeah, because you know what I mean, some dudes just want to come out here and do their thing, and they just need to know the rules and regulations on how LA run, man. So, I thought the song was cool, it was funny, but I did have a question, man. I knew Mozzy pulled up in a clean ass 58, and if I wasn't mistaken, I think Mozzy was in the 4. What did you pull up in, homie?
Man, listen, I put up in some older shit than that.
Yeah.
I put that's the car I low-key want to pull up in, because it's like, feel me? That's some shit we know about. I don't even know the type of car I put up in.
Yeah. I'm gonna have to go back and look at it, man. But it was clean. Y'all pulled up clean, man. But Alex,
that shit had like 500,000 miles on it.
Man, you know what I mean? It's definitely classics, man. But like I say, the song hit 1 million views already, bro.
Hell yeah, cause like people feeling it. Some people, everybody got something to say, but
right.
If you know, like, man, ain't nobody safe in LA. You wearing your jury and all that, thinking you safe. It's not cool. Like, you gotta, you feel me? Hire some security. If you gonna wear $30,000 or better on your body, and you ain't moving like how you supposed to, get some security.
Oh, no doubt. Times have changed, man. We used to move around, man. Me and PD back in the day, man. And, we had a crew with us, so we was our own security. But at the same time, you got a lot of guys come out here from other cities. They don't bring their security, they don't bring their homies, and they don't tap in. You know what I mean? It's kind of important, homie, that when you come this way, homie, you got to know. So, let me be 100. When I come to the hunters, I call the homies and let them know I'm coming. You know what I mean? So it ain't no disrespect. It's just something we do, in order to make sure everything is good. Make sure. But I think Alex got a couple questions for you, bro. It's good hearing from you, man. Hey, keep doing y'all thing.
Yeah,
Man, good looking.
D3. When we were talking earlier off the show, you said something about how the verses initially were assigned. I forgot what you said. I think it was Mozzy initially was not on the song, or he was. How did that go?
Yeah, nah, none of us was like we wasn't on the song. Like the homie gassed it like all the way through, and then he wanted me to hop on it, and then Mozzie hopped on it, and then we like it just came together.
Can you give us a timeline of when you shot that video? Because I know Mozzy turned himself in around July 29th. So when was that video shot?
Shit, that shit was shot probably like July 20th, 21st type shit.
Oh, right before he left and shit.
Yeah, right
Oh,
before he
okay,
turned
okay.
Okay, and how did the writing come about? Did you have that already figured out, or something that you did on the spot? What?
Nah, I actually wrote 2 different verses because I already had a lot of shit to talk about due to the concept of the song. So it was just like one I was talking about like some shit niggas like rappers come to niggas hoods and don't like they just want to take pictures and shit thinking that it's cool and like honestly you should be like pulling up giving back type shit or you feel me that like niggas get robbed like that thinking it's sweet
Yeah,
and it's not
yeah.
sweet. So like basically like I'm basically on that verse I'm rapping like tap in or you feel me like make sure you put somebody on that you go into their section and put them on. It ain't hard. You ain't gotta pay nobody to put them on.
Right,
You
right.
do a song with them or something.
Exactly,
Like, you
exactly.
know,
No, I
shit
feel
like
you
that. But
100%.
then my other verse was like, yeah, it was just I was like saying too much, like too much robbing shit.
Yeah. Had to bring it back down to the commercial. Could
Yeah,
make a
I was
commercial
like,
like, nah,
nah.
yeah, you got to sell records still, but yeah, you go too hard, you gonna get it from that end too, man. Shit.
Well,
Yeah, scratch the second verse.
well, D3 man, I appreciate you tapping in. Are you the hottest rapper out of the Nickerson since J Rock?
Man, I feel like it. I ain't gonna lie to you. I'm like J. Rock, he got the key to the city, so you know that's big bro. Bro, he
Yeah,
doing his thing.
yeah.
I'm trying to. Yeah, I ain't really been dropping like that. I'm trying to get there though.
Nah, keep going, homie. Keep pushing, keep doing your thing, man. We gonna be looking out for you. You had to, I love your verse on that song, to be honest with you, man. You went in, keep it up. You gotta keep putting them out, you already know. And shit, I'm gonna be looking forward to you blowing up, homie.
Man, nigga, appreciate that.
Hey,
For real.
I'm gonna tap back in with you, man, because I definitely want to have you on the Street TV platform, man, to tell your story in the very near future. So I'll be in touch with you, D3.
Oh yeah, it's good, man. Nice talking to y'all.
All right, man. Thanks a lot.
All right.
All right, there he goes, D3 from out the Nickersons. He confirmed it. That song was actually in the works a year ago.
He said that was a long time ago.
Yeah, so I know that they got a lot of negative backlash because of the whole PnB situation. But hey, man, you can't stifle art. You cannot try to control how art is created, when it's distributed, and when it's put out. And sometimes the timing might not be right, but it's not their fault.
No doubt. You know what I mean? And I know how some people say, I guess they think everything can just get done, automatically or something like that. But sometimes, man, when these things are lined up to drop on certain days or they have certain time frames for their album releases, you just have to keep going, pushing forward, and keep doing what you do no matter, no matter what happened. Unless it's just something super drastic, but these guys have, timelines and stuff like that when it comes to this music and stuff like that.
Yeah, man. I think that we're going to see a lot more coming from D3. I went through his little catalog. He's got about 2 or 3 years of some music he's been putting out.
Okay.
But I think when you're on a song with Mozzy and YG,
definitely give you exposure that he's getting exposure that's coming due to him, and he didn't let us down on that verse. So, you know what I mean? Like I said, if he stay consistent with that, man, and see, that's what I'm talking about. YG or reach back to the homies. I like that. You know what I mean? When they go back and get somebody, and dude held his own on the song. That's what's up.
And I think a lot of rappers don't reach back to the homies, not because they don't want to or they can't, but I think it's more difficult than what it sounds. I think we say it all the time, like, oh man, you need to put such and such on and put all those other people on, but it's a more of a complicated process than just having homies that are from the hood that you think you can put on.
No doubt, it definitely is sometimes. You know what I mean? Sometimes it's not. You know what I mean? Especially when the artist can hold their own. You know what I mean? If you putting a dude on that's not really all that or not really tight, then you know you got that. Then you got the politics of the hood or what the big homies wanna. You know, I'm trying to put this dude on, not you. You don't even rap. Leave me alone. Let me deal with the young homie. Bring him with me. You know, but like you say, that's when the politics come in and shit. You know, everybody want a little piece when you trying to reach back. When I'm trying to reach back to this dude. The other homies don't know. Let me put this dude on, then he gonna look out for y'all. You know what I mean? You know, everybody want it right now. So I agree with you on that one.
Because some of the greatest rappers tried to do it. I know Pac put on the Outlaws.
Yeah.
And then Snoop put on quite a few people.
No doubt. But behind all those put-ons is a story. Is a story that's not the most beautiful situation.
And
you
that's
know
the
what
part
I mean?
I'm talking about.
You talking about?
Yeah, it ain't as easy as
no
putting
doubt.
people on. But much success to D3. We're gonna have D3 on Street TV as soon as possible because I know everybody else is gonna be trying to get him real soon. And before you know it, you're gonna start seeing him on some of these other huge platforms. But yeah, what else did I have here? We spoke about Bishop Lamore Whitehead, who got robbed on live FaceTime in Brooklyn, New York. And we kind of thought it was weird how he got robbed because you see this dude sitting in the back in the chair and he ain't even budging. It just seems kind of scripted. And then when Lamore Whitehead gave an interview to the news, he was saying things that he told everybody to get down and do this and do that, and he didn't say none of that shit. And it just seemed like it was all scripted. But it turns out they arrested 2 people.
Yeah, they arrested 2 people, but I ain't gonna say skeptical, but I still want to hear some details on how they caught them, and you know.
Well, it says here in the New York Times that 2 men were charged with the robbery that happened in July that seized an estimated $1 million in jewelry. Hey, I guess he's got to take some some lessons too. You on live FaceTime with $1 million worth of jewelry. He did the same thing PnB Rock did.
No doubt, but I think he would think the Lord was protecting him, and as we see, man, that don't always be the case.
Well, the Lord gave you the mental capacity to make the right decisions.
No doubt. You didn't make it.
Yeah. So they arrested a guy named Juwan Anderson, Juwan, and Saquon Pollock, 23 years old. Both were 23 years old. They were arrested by a joint task force in New York City and by the Bureau of the ATF. So I guess the feds got involved in this. I don't know why, but the ATF and the NYPD arrested them in the task force. So it appears on the surface that this was a real robbery.
You know what? I mean, I got you, but I just like I said, I'm still want to keep my eye on it because I want to see if anybody else get drug involved. Like, say maybe a member of the church, some phone calls or something linked back to a member of the church saying, "Man, it's a good time to come right now." You know what I mean? But I got my eye, because this guy, he's so flamboyant, and then $1 million worth of jewelry. I want to see if any insurance. I just want to see how this one go. You know what I mean?
Yeah, man. It did seem a little sketchy. It did seem skeptical, and maybe it's a little too early to pass any judgment right now. But on the surface, it appears to be a real robbery.
Yeah.
But that can change.
Yeah, but like you say, it could be though. You know what I mean? You never know.
And it happened right in the middle of service. So. Hey, if you're on Facebook Live wearing $1 million worth of jewelry, I don't have no sympathy for you getting robbed, Mr. Whitehead.
Yeah, if let me tell you something, man. You the pastor of the church, man, and you got the bishop or whatever, and you got $1 million worth of jewelry on. I don't have no sympathy for you, period. Because a lot of these guys, these big religious people, some of these people get a hard-earned last for tithes. You know what I mean? To give to the church, to try to better the church and try to keep the word going, dude. And you up here just flossing, super flossing, flamboyantly like that. You know what I mean? So I don't have nothing against the guy personally. It's just at the end of the day, when I see these pastors and Rolls Royces and certain things, I do believe that some of it sometimes is a slap in the face, Alex.
Yeah, and I know some people are going to say, well, why aren't we condemning the two guys that went in there and robbed them at gunpoint? And to me, that goes without saying.
Man, I'm glad you said that, because it was another situation that we were talking about last week, and somebody said, murder and these things go without us saying, you know what I mean? And we shouldn't have to say that every time, plus these guys are in jail, they have to answer to the accusations that's brought upon them. So, that's automatic.
Yeah, I think we need to talk more about how do we preserve our life? How do we make better decisions out here in the jungle? How do we deal with all these lions and hyenas? Because they're not going anywhere. They're going to exist. We can condemn them all we want, but that's not going to save people's lives and making better decisions for them. So that's what I'd like to focus on.
No doubt, but I seem like it just will automatically, they just should know that, murder, robbery, all these things we don't condone. You know what I mean? We don't. And I just would think people would automatically know that. We not with that, so it don't have to be discussed to condemn the robber or the shooter or the this every time. Some of that stuff should just go without saying.
And also, as a person who works on criminal court cases with the defense, I'm not going to condemn anybody who was just arrested. Also, they haven't been proven guilty.
No doubt.
They haven't been found guilty. They're not convicted. So at this stage of the game, what are we supposed to condemn? Someone who is presumed innocent in the United States of America? No, I'm not condemning. It's just someone who's merely arrested. Now, a year from now, when the shooter of PnB Rock is convicted, or if these two guys, Juwan Anderson and Saquon Pollock, are convicted, then I'll have some more harsher words. But at this point in time, Juwan Anderson might be innocent.
No doubt, but at the end of the day, man, I just don't believe it's for me to... look, when we get a situation, we speak on a situation. We give the information that we know, and we discuss certain situations that might have, could have happened or could have. We're never there, so we can't actually say what actually happened. We get stuff off the news and information that the LAPD give out, and we talk about it. So at the end of the day, I believe that some people was taking the content that we put, making it seem like it's factual that we were there and we know and we were wrong. No, we just discuss situations that come about, and at the end of the day, I'm not finna every time something transpires, well, the gunner should be ashamed of himself. This is really happening every day, and I'm sorry if I'm more numb than the next people are, but I've seen this happen. So I'm FG, man. In case didn't nobody know, man. I come from this.
Yeah.
So at the end of the day, man, I don't have the same probably feeling, or I don't express the same feeling. You're not going to get oh my God, he did what? I've seen it so many times. So when we discuss a situation, don't think that I don't, have no compassion. It's just that I'm talking about this, whatever we talking about, and I'm not going to get overly dramatic over, what I mean, the situation sometimes.
Yeah. I'm all for presuming someone innocent. I didn't even really have anything negative to say about Eric Holder until after he was found guilty. And then even in that situation, Nipsey Hussle could have moved differently. He could have kept himself out of certain types of conversations. He could have say, I'm not going to be politicking on no members from the hood because I'm a multi-million-dollar artist. I have multiple companies. So I think it's worth criticizing some of the things he did, even though Eric Holder killed him. Eric Holder's responsible for the homicide, and he's about to serve the rest of his life in prison. But we got to use this as an example to tell the next rapper, hey, do you still go up to a guy like Eric Holder and tell him X, Y, and Z?
No doubt. And see, and that's where they start to, I think with these situations, they start to get educated on exactly what we do. You know what I mean? Because even when we're discussing the shooter in a certain sense, we're educating. We giving a lot of people, everybody's not from the street, Alex. Everybody, and some people who are from the streets haven't been in all these situations. So when we speak, we also, people are listening and saying, man, I never thought of it like that. Even if it seemed like we're not condemning the person who done the most wrong, but it's still an educational way to move out here in these streets. Because everybody can see the streets are getting dangerous and dangerous. I'm talking about every time I look up, You know what I mean? You know, and people talk about, you know, certain issues, but between the PnB Rock situation and the last, when it happened in the last week that we spoke about it, 3 Pyrus that got killed. You know what I mean? 2 of them in which I knew personally. You know what I mean? And I didn't bring those to Streets and Scholars, but I had personal homies that I had just lost. You know, and they could have moved different. You know what I mean? And people don't understand that it ain't always just like I'm getting on here, we getting on here, talk about some celebrities. This personal shit happened. We in LA, man, Compton, Inglewood, Linwood, Watts. This shit is happening all the time to people we know. You know what I mean? So we speaking from experience as well, you know.
Oh yeah, man. So let's move on to one of our topics, man, because we could stay on that for the whole hour.
Right. No, we got other stuff we got to do, man. Let's rock and roll.
We spoke about this new bill that passed on episode 34. This is AB 2799. I'm gonna call it the rap lyric bill. And we didn't actually mention the dude who wrote it. I don't think we did. His name is Reggie Jones Sawyer. He's a brother from LA in his 60s. And because of him, he actually got Gavin Newsom. We given all the praise to Gavin Newsom for signing it.
Right.
But it was Reggie Jones Sawyer who actually wrote the bill.
Okay.
And interesting, there was a murder convictions overturned just recently. As this bill is passing in Sacramento, 2 rappers, well, I guess you could say that they're characterized as amateur rappers, but they got involved in a shooting back in 2017. The 2 brothers' names was Gary Bryant and Diallo Jackson. They were found guilty of gang enhancement in a 2004 shooting of Kenneth Cooper. But these 2 brothers got their conviction overturned, and they are free right now.
No doubt, man. That was some that was a beautiful thing. That was good. Now the thing about it is, they should have never been able to just use lyrics to persuade. Because what they doing, Alex, is they using these lyrics to sway the jurors. You know what I mean? And I don't believe that that's fair at all. So I'm glad that these guys their conviction was overturned because of the rap lyrics part. You know, I don't know if they're actually innocent or guilty or not, but I'm just saying because of that part, I don't ever think that should have been in a case anyway.
Yeah, because the rap lyrics bring in a racial bias against black defendants, and that is an absolute unacceptable in a jury trial. You know, you're supposed to have a more unbiased look at the defendants. And when you bring in rap lyrics, at least in this instance, in this case against these 2 brothers, the rap lyrics had nothing to do with the specific crime. And I think one of the attorneys was able to put the date on the rap lyrics, having been written maybe like 3 years prior. Mm-hmm. So I'm surprised that prosecutors did not foresee that this is probably not a good idea. But then sometimes I got to say, man, these prosecutors do not care. They will bring in whatever they're going to get away with. You know?
No doubt, and they get away with it sometimes.
Yeah, this was up north in Contra Costa County. I'm not sure what town was in Contra Costa County, but the Contra County District Attorney's Office. Let me just read this part. The Contra Costa District Attorney's Office said they will proceed with criminal charges against Jackson and Bryant in a new trial, while an internal policy change will be applied to stay in accordance with the law. So they may try to retry them again, but some people say that that's never going to happen because it's been already almost a decade since these alleged crimes have been committed. But they got their case overturned. But I want to ask you about, what about other guys? And I thought about this rapper X-Rated. Mm-hmm. He went to prison in 94 and he went on trial. I think he's from Sacramento, I believe. And they used a lot of rap lyrics in his 94 trial.
Did they?
Yeah.
I'm not familiar with
He got sentenced to 27 years. He did all his time and now he's free.
Damn.
But I was reading an article where they quoted him as saying, if this law existed back in 94, a lot of what happened in his trial would have never even been legal.
Yeah.
It would be illegal. And in his opinion is he got convicted mostly because of all the stuff that they introduced related to his rap career, because he had some pretty, I guess you could say, violent lyrics.
Yeah, but like you say, man, they was getting away with it, and I believe you go back really, and I believe it's a whole lot more that we just don't know about. And I believe when they go back and look at the statistics on their behalf, on their end, they probably found out that, man, we done convicted more people behind these rap leaguers than people even know.
Hey, it's actually been happening a lot in California because we're only talking about the famous rappers.
Right.
Like these two dudes were just mixtape rappers.
Right.
I posted a comment. I posted a thing on my Instagram of a guy who did a rap song in 91. He wrote a rap song in 91, never recorded it. It wasn't even as a song. He just had it on paper. And when he got arrested for a murder, they're saying he killed his ex-girlfriend, and they raided his house and they found these rap lyrics on a piece of paper. This guy's name was Offord Rollins, Offord, and he went on trial in 1992, and he got a hung jury. They tried to I'm sorry, he was found guilty.
Yeah, he was found guilty.
But then they overturned his conviction. They ran it again, and in 96, I believe, he got a hung jury in 96.
Because this was the guy that was the athlete.
Yeah, he was the athlete.
Yeah, man, I read about that, man, and he wasn't even a rapper.
He wasn't even a rapper.
He was an athlete, and they put that on him, man, and thankfully the Court of Appeals came back, you know what I mean, and exonerated this kid, but he was on his way to even trying out for the Olympics. He was that good.
Yeah, he would have been in the 96 Olympics.
Yeah, he was that good, man, and they put that on him. But I'm gonna point out something that happened in that case. It was also noted that during the jury selection, that the prosecutors dismissed 4 black jurors off that case.
Yep.
And they ran with the lyrics. They got the lyrics out of his notebook or whatever. They ran with the lyrics, made him seem harsh and foul, and those people rode with it. And that just go back to black people. Go to jury duty, please. You know what I mean? Go to jury duty. We need you. But yeah, man, that was definitely a crazy situation. I'm glad he was able to get out of there, though.
Yeah, but he had to sit in that county jail from whenever he was arrested in 91 to 96.
Yeah, he did some time. Yeah, he did some time.
But he beat the case. But a lot of these guys that are being charged and rap lyrics are being used against them, they're not like mainstream artists. They're people we've never heard of.
And that's where it's super wrong at. You know what I mean? Don't get me wrong. I mean, I know if you hear it on the radio every day, you might feel one certain way, but dude is writing some stuff and got a whole different career and doing something else and just happened to be writing some, even in the journal, something he thought. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
it's crazy.
All right, let's talk about our last thing here, man, because the city of LA is on fire, and it was disappointing to hear the 3 Mexican American council members of our beautiful city here in LA, and the city of LA has 15 council members in total. Mm-hmm. These 3 were Mexican Americans, and they were in a powwow with one of the labor guys named, who was the labor guy? The labor guy was Ron Herrera, and the 3 council members was Nuri Martinez, Gil Cedillo, and Kevin De Leon. And somehow, some way, somebody was secretly recording them while they were having a meeting on redistricting, and they said some really unsavory things that, in my opinion, all 3 of them are going to lose their job. It's just a matter of time. But did you get a chance to listen to some of the crazy statements, mostly coming out of the lady's mouth, Nuri Martinez?
Man, I was all over this, Alex. and the thing about it is I was all over it. I was highly disappointed, and I wasn't highly disappointed if these things were said. Somebody's recording something in someone's home, a regular person's home, a friend of mine's, and they brought me these recordings and say, look, man, I stashed a phone at their house and I got these recordings from them in their personal space, bro. It wouldn't bother. I get that. She's the president of the Los Angeles City Council, and she was having meetings with people, other officials, and you talk like this, you use this kind of language. What kind of language you use when you're not around? You know what I mean? I feel the city of LA definitely took a L by having her a win and a loss. This came out because they needed to get up out of there. I mean, I ain't gonna lie, Alex. I don't even use the word appalled ever, but that's what I was, man.
Yeah, I was shocked myself, but to a certain degree, unfortunately, there's a lot of Mexican Americans in this city that don't like blacks.
No doubt.
But there are a lot of Mexican Americans that have love for blacks. So I don't want to paint the whole Mexican American community one way, but there is a strong segment of Mexican Americans that just have a disdain for black folks.
Okay, but this is the thing about it. I get that. But when it's coming from the top down, this is a bigger problem. You know what I mean? When the city officials and city council members and the president of the city council, Los Angeles City Council, is one of them, dude, we have a problem. You know what I mean? So how are we going to ever, get any kind of unity when we got so many people against us? And I'm going to use this moment right here to say, she said what she said and she can't take that shit back. But everybody who listens to this should, as a black person, should look at each other, Alex, and say, damn, they against us, we against us. When are we going to get it together and be like, hold on, man, we need each other, and like I said, yeah, it was, I was shocked, bro.
Well, Nuri Martinez has actually stepped down from her leadership position on the Los Angeles City Council. She hasn't stepped down from her job as the council member, but they've all issued apologies. But at what point can we not allow an apology to just erase what they did?
Right now need to be the point. They shouldn't even be at the regular job. You stepped down from the president of the city council, but you didn't give up your whole seat. No, you guys need to get up out of there. Every single one of you who participated, who listened and didn't say nothing back. Everybody who laughed need to be up out of there, Alex.
So you're saying all three of them?
All three of them need to be fired.
Well, let's play a couple of clips and for our listeners here, because there's going to be some people that aren't even offended by some of this stuff. But let's play it and let's be very specific on what was said. Here's clip number 1. Let's see. I have 8 clips here. This is clip number 1. They're all short too. All right. Let's see here. Let me Here we go. Clip number 1.
All this. My goal in life is to get the 3 of you elected, and I'm just focused on that. We're like the little Latino caucus of our own
city.
Yeah, and we have to find new folks to bring in. Blumenfield was in here the other day, right? He goes, "Well, we're trying to create another Latino." Yeah, why do we have to do that? I go, "Fuck." The way I see it, all of the seats are Latino.
What did he say?
Oh, you got a point there.
Fuck that.
What do we say? 52% of the population is Latino.
His mentors are the reason we're so fucking gerrymandered in the valley.
Right.
Okay, so that was Herrera, the labor guy, who he already stepped down from his job. But there was a part there that may be difficult to hear when he mentioned Blumenfield, another council member, a white council member. Nuri Martinez just says, "Fuck that dude."
Right. Like, pretty much. Yeah.
Fuck that dude.
No doubt.
Like these are your colleagues.
Yeah.
These are one of your 15 people that are supposed to be leading this city, and it just shows you like all the bickering and the I guess the dislike or hatred that they have for each other.
Well, that too, but like you say, you when you get to thinking about these politics, man, and some of these politicians, I knew some of them was could be ruthless, but to hear this. She's a savage, bro.
Yeah, she is.
Yeah, she gangster with her.
She's
shit,
relentless.
Yeah.
Miss Nuri Martinez is relentless. All right, let's go to the second clip here.
I'm satisfied. We are satisfied.
This is Diallo.
With Polanco, that's the K 2.5 and amended. We're good with that. We can live with that. We think it's generous to your guy, Mitch, but we're okay
Why do you
with
keep
that.
saying my guy?
Well, he's my guy.
But
And your guy, Tehran's
He's my
guy.
guy.
Where's
But
your
aren't you
protest?
not cool with him anymore? I needed a fucking
I've always
placeholder. I don't
worked with
fucking
him.
need anybody to do my job.
I've always
Trust
worked
me,
with
all
him.
these guys,
I'm good with, look at
no
how,
offense to both of you, but
Look at
it's
how
like
hard I
I
worked.
do all the work.
look how hard I worked to not let this be a compare
But I
contrast to
thought
Echo Park.
you guys were okay. You sound like you guys are okay. Like, fuck, man, you had me fooled. I'm like, oh, yes, we call it the bromance, of COVID bromance. They go on COVID, yeah, they're like complimenting each other, and
That's
Mr.
good work.
this, Mr. that, and I'm like, oh, fuck, I didn't get the memo.
I distinguish the work and
now we're back to like battling, so I don't understand.
I'm not battling him. Look at how much I fought to keep him out of this.
He's a teamster. I gotta support him.
Yeah.
Family.
Who?
Me.
Is it Teamster?
Yeah. That's why this guy that's running from HRE, I already told Susan.
Sometimes
Hey,
you gotta
you
bring
against us,
people a little
baby.
closer to try to control them a little bit, like sort of like calm the hell down. I get it. He's a diva. I understand that.
Okay, that was clip number 2, and you could just tell like Nuri Martinez is just trying to run the whole show.
No shit, she got a disdain for everybody.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? You know, and but it goes to show her character. It goes to show what's leading us here in Los Angeles. You know what I mean? And not only on the Los Angeles, this shit is going on in other city councils as well. It just this one got recorded. You know?
Yeah. All right, let me go to clip number 3. This one is 30 seconds.
So getting back to Marquise, I told Danny, if you want to cut a deal and if you want to make like fucking boss moves, I would go after the airport.
Let me just pause real quick because she mentions Marquise. He's the youngest council member on the council. He's a black elected official representing South LA. Mm-hmm. So now she's talking about a brother when she says Marquise. Let me back that up just a little bit here.
He goes, fuck.
Let's back that up.
So getting back to Marquise, I told Danny, if you want to cut a deal and if you want to make like fucking boss moves, I would go after the airport. He goes, fuck, I love that idea. I said, tell Marquise.
So
go take it from his friend.
Don't go
after. Leave him alone. Go get the airport from his fucking little brother, that little bitch Bonnet.
How many for black people?
I go, what is with Bonnet? And I said, Bonnet thinks he's fucking black. That guy don't think he's black. I go, he thinks he's black. I told her the same thing.
Okay, so this one is a little crazy. That clip was a little crazy because she calls another council member a bitch.
Right.
That's Mr. Bonin, who happens to be openly homosexual council member that has adopted a black boy as his son. Mm-hmm. And she's talking shit about not only Bonin, but the boy too.
Mark, yeah, she definitely talks shit about the boy. That's common.
So some of these comments suggest that she's not fit for leadership or for political office.
Real shit. Real shit, Alex.
All right, let me play. Also, I just got to point out, she said Bonin thinks he's black. That guy thinks he's black. Now Bonin's a white dude.
Right.
But what's wrong with a white dude who has love or who aligns himself with black causes? If she got a problem with it, obviously.
Well, I think all he probably does is support some black causes. And she's so savvy that she says, oh, he thinks he's black. Why? Because he support maybe some black causes? You know what I mean?
All right, let me play clip number 4 here. This one's 30 seconds.
If somebody slides in, right, temporary or however you do it, right, that person has to support the 3 of you. Has to support the 3 of you. And Danny,
You know who wants to run for that seat?
Reggie.
No, Isabel.
I ain't gonna support that, Reggie. Reggie was over there with Karen.
Who was over
After he was fucking sweating his ass off.
The one who will support us is Heather Hutt.
Yes.
I like Heather Hutt.
Yeah.
Heather's
Okay. Now, they mentioned Karen. That's Karen Bass. That's the sister.
Okay.
And they say Reggie.
Yeah, I heard him say Reggie.
And you know who Reggie? You know who Reggie might be?
I'm telling you.
Reggie might be Reggie Jones Sawyer, the guy who wrote this AB 2799 rap bill.
Could be.
He's the only Reggie that I know in LA politics. Even though he's a state assemblyman, he represents LA on the state level.
Okay.
So they just in this room talking about black politicians,
Yeah,
man.
They wasn't feeling Reggie though either. They was like, shit.
Yeah. All right. Let's go to clip number 5. This one is almost 2 minutes.
I see a lot of little short, dark people.
Yeah.
Oh wait, let me rewind this.
Yeah.
This is Cedillo talking about Koreatown.
Yeah, let's go Cape Town.
yes.
I see a lot of little short, dark people.
Yeah, puro
It's-
Oaxacan.
yeah.
Puro Oaxacan Koreans. not even like Kevin, little ones.
I was like, no, I don't know where these people are from. I was like, I don't know what village they came, how they got here, but
And then they're wearing shoes.
So one,
feels.
I get what we have to do, right? Just massage to create districts that benefit you all,
Yep.
right, and the future.
Yep.
But we got to figure out Mark's seat too.
Mm-hmm.
You know,
And I'm
that
gonna take
benefits you
Schiffer.
three.
Because if the African Americans look at this, now that he might or may not be suspended, I don't know what's gonna happen. I think he should be, but anyhow, if he goes away,
You mean resign, not suspended?
No, here's.
you're
going to
right,
be
I think, yeah, there is a difference.
If I may,
If he resigns, hold on, if he resigns and the African Americans look at this as a hostile takeover because he's gone, we'll have to figure that shit out, because politically they're gonna come after us.
Yeah, but can I say something right now? And this is what I call the ¿cómo se llama this guy? The movie, the Wizard of Oz effect.
Mhm.
And what I mean by the Wizard of Oz effect is when you're at the side of the curtain, it's like this big voice. And
An
it
illusion.
sounds big. And it sounds like there's thousands of them. And then when you actually pull the curtain, is that you see the little Wizard of Oz.
Yeah.
You know what?
I've never watched the movie.
It's the same thing.
All right.
It's real simple. You got 100 people,
I
right?
think it's the
52
old
of them are
school
Mexicanos.
folks.
I
I'm
feel
gonna
pretty
do
good
that.
about it.
Yeah.
I feel pretty good about my chances of beating your ass.
25 are black. And the 25 blacks are shouting. And the
But they
52
shout like they were
are
250.
Yeah.
When there's 100 of us, they're
Right.
like, it sounds like
So,
there's 10 of us.
but that,
Okay, man, that was De Leon, that was Cedillo, that was Nuri, that was all of them.
That was all of them right there.
Yeah, that's all of them right there. And I think that clip right there, they're all going to have to either resign. I don't know if I don't think you can get fired because they're elected. They can get recalled or they can resign. And I want to talk about this clip a little bit because, you know, there's a lot of Mexican Americans that are pissed at them right now too.
No doubt, you know what I mean? But, you know, look how they representing for the, Mexican culture, you know. They letting them down as well.
Well, one of the comments that Nuri made in that last clip was talking about the Oaxacan Mexicans, which are the indigenous, shorter, dark-complected Mexicans.
Okay.
And Oaxacan is spelled with a O. So I always see Oaxacan markets, Oaxacan stores. It is an indigenous language that's native to the Oaxacans, and she just disparaged them. And she even said that they were ugly when she said tan feos.
Then is that the one when she said, which village did these people
Which
come
village did these people come from?
That's what I call like.
So
what?
there are going to be so many indigenous Mexicans saying this woman got to go because that comment right there is highly offensive. And then they're also talking in a way that's not very representative of being leadership, because they're talking about the Mexican electorate is becoming big, and I like my odds at winning, kicking their asses or something like that. And it just sounds as if they're trying to spew the idea of taking over the city, of being the dominant politicians in the city. And I think a lot of people are going to feel a certain kind of way about that language.
No doubt, you know what I mean? And hey, Alex, they got to be held accountable, man.
Yeah, they. I believe that they're going to be held accountable to the point where, by the time our Streets and Scholars episodes are listened to this week's episode, these three people should be fired.
They should be, man.
I don't know how long they're going to last, but I'll be surprised if we're doing an episode next week where they're still in their position. And did you hear the part where they said that it'd be 100 black people, but they're shouting like there are 250 of them?
No doubt, I did hear that. You know what I mean?
All right, let me see here. Let me play. Here's clip number 6. This is only 19 seconds. Let me rewind that. Okay, here we go.
They're raising him like a little white kid, which I was like, this kid needs a beat down. Like, let me take him around the corner and then I'll bring him back.
Yeah.
¿Sí me entiendes? Ven para
It's
acá.
a pinch. Something.
Yeah.
But he's the fourth black.
So anyways, getting back to redistricting.
Yes.
Okay, she's talking about Bonin's black adopted son that was on a float.
On a float, yeah.
And she said that he needs his ass beat, and that
Let her take him around the corner and beat it, you know what I mean, and bring him back real fast, you know. The other guy said that he needs to be pinched, you know. That's not cool at all.
yeah,
know what I mean?
that pinch part is hard to hear. I'm
Yeah, no,
surprised.
I heard it. Yeah, you know what I mean. He said you need to be pinched and shit. And the whole thing about it, they laughing about this shit.
And what do you think about this part where Nuri says that Mike Bonin is raising that black boy like a little white kid?
I mean, he's raising him like a human being. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And he's raising the kid, and she didn't even take into consideration that, you know, if the kid was adopted, these guys took this kid out of adoption to give him a better life. You know what I mean? And she's sitting here talking shit about how he's being raised. You know what I mean? So these people are just foul as a motherfucker.
She really is.
Yeah.
Here's clip number 7. Let me cue this up
It's like
here. Here we go.
whatever the kid's name is, I'm like, it's like the oddest thing. It's like black and brown on this float, and then there's this white guy with this little black kid who's misbehaved. Este niño has they're not even, they're not doing, the kid is bouncing off the effing walls on the float, practically tipping it over. There's nothing you can do to control him. Parece changuito. And I'm just like, oh my God.
Okay, so she's talking about Mike Bonin again and his little. I looked up the boy. I just want to see, is this like a teenager? Is this a little kid? The boy's like 3 or 4 years old.
I believe he was 2.
Okay, he's doing what kids do on floats, right?
No doubt. And even if he was doing a little too much, dude, he's a kid. I mean, a young kid. You know, 2 to 4 year olds. Come on, man, that's a baby damn near still. You know what I mean? But it still don't cause for him. And then that little La Chica or whatever that's what she called him, the monkey at.
Yeah,
little monkey.
Changuito.
Yeah, little monk called him a little monkey. and come on, Alex, we can't go for that one right there.
Nah, well, you know, I'm not gonna trip on the Changuito comment as much as some of the other shit she says, because there's a lot of Spanish shit that be said that sounds offensive in English, but it be really just like some terms of endearment type shit.
Man, you ain't calling no black kid no little monkey in no terms of endearment, man.
Nah, for real, you could actually you could actually say some of these terms in Spanish there's zero offense to them, but I can understand when you translate that shit into English, it's like you have to know better, you know, because but see, here's the thing, they didn't know they were being recorded.
No doubt, but at the same time, I mean, but this go back to Ice Cube. I take it back to Ice Cube, you know, and for the people that's listening to right now, like Ice Cube said, here's what they think about you. Here's what they really feel about you, Alex. Here's what they really feel about you, FG. Here's what they really feel about you, the city of Los Angeles. This is what they really think about you, man. You know what I mean? And I don't believe that these people is fit to be in office leading on the level that they are with this kind of feeling on the inside. Now, I don't expect him to sit there and not have, you know, opinions and shit like that, but this is beyond that, man. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
it's
definitely.
Beyond that.
Yeah, I wonder why. I mean, the way she just talks when she says, when she's talking about Mike Bonin on the float with his black son, she says that this is a white guy with a little black kid. It's like she has to emphasize everybody's race in a very negative way. It just seems like she doesn't like anybody.
No doubt, but you still gonna have people that's gonna come in and argue that she didn't say nothing offensive. You know what I mean? They're not gonna hear none of that. You know what I mean? Because they talk like that in their regular lives, you know. But in actuality, everybody is gonna know the truth, man.
No, I think most of everything she said is offensive. Here's the last clip I have here. This is 22 seconds.
All the, you know, folks like with Ascon, he did call me. He wants to have breakfast with me.
What's taking him so long?
I haven't. I just said, hey, we need to talk.
You supported him from the.
All right, don't worry, I got you.
Yeah.
Fuck that guy.
So
I'm
you'll
sorry,
start
man.
seeing them line up.
He's with the blacks.
Isaac was the first.
Okay, that might have been hard to hear, but that was Nuri talking with the labor guy. Keep forgetting the labor guy's name, but she said, "Fuck Gascon, he's with the blacks."
Yeah.
You heard that one, right?
He's with the blacks, man. That's crazy.
Yeah, this woman is out of control, man. Yeah. So, lastly, I want to play is just a little bit of Mike Bonin's response. They had a council meeting this week, downtown City Hall, and guess who didn't show up? Nuri Martinez was not there. She decided to take a leave of absence right now because she is feeling the heat. But I'm going to play a little bit of Mike Bonin's response to all of this. Let's.
Good morning, everybody.
This is the father of the black adopted kid, and he's also a council member.
I really do not want to be here today. I want to be home with my family right now. I am, but I want to say a few words. I am still trying to wrap my head around everything that was said and everything that is happening. My husband and I are both raw and angry and heartbroken and sick for our family and for Los Angeles. And as an Angelino, like most Angelinos, I am reeling from the revelations of what these people said. Trusted servants who voiced hate and bile. Public officials are supposed to call us to our highest selves. And these people stabbed us and shot us and cut the spirit of Los Angeles. It gave a beatdown to the heart and the soul of the city.
All right, so you could hear the emotion in Mike Bonin, and he later goes on to call for the resignation of all three of them. And I agree with Mike Bonin completely. You can tap in on the internet. There's he has a 12-minute response to those three council members, Nuri Martinez, Gil Cedillo, and Kevin De Leon. And first thing I want to ask you, F, is the way these audios came to the public sphere has to do with somebody snitching, somebody being a mole, somebody ratting them out. So I want to get, aside from what they said, how do you feel about how this all got exposed?
You know what, man? It was definitely a rat in the room. You know what
Definitely.
I mean? But it was a rat who had premeditated motives. You know what I mean? This is not something that just came about and they stumbled across and say, "Hey, I believe they had premeditated motive. They have been in meetings before where talk like this has been going on. They probably said, "I'm gonna get this audio in case I ever need it for leverage." You know, and they definitely snitched on Nuri and them. You know what I mean? Set them up. You know, put them out there. You know, on the flip side of it, when you get to talking about this is not a criminal case. This is not a criminal situation. They not getting on the stand and, you know, telling on nobody or in a criminal activity that's sending somebody to jail. You know, they are bringing awareness to what's going on in the LA City Council. You know what I mean? And to be honest with you, you know, as I pointed out, yeah, they definitely got ratted out. But it's sad to hear once it came out. It's sad to hear that I haven't even just focused on. Damn, who would set them up like that? Because they set their ass up, you know. But it's sad to be on a platform that big and to do the shit they did and say the shit they did.
Yeah, somebody lined them up very well.
Lined them up, man. And I'm like, damn.
The way I see it is that whoever helped expose this probably made complaints about them before. And those complaints were probably just dismissed because what do you want us to do? You know, that's the way they talk. That's the way they talk. So this person said, all right, if you guys ain't going to do nothing about it, the world need to hear this.
Well, shit, they better be worried about Nuri because she sound like she'll put a hit on a motherfucker, you know?
Yeah.
She sound like she a beast. She sound there's going to be some repercussions. She find out who did that. But yeah, you know, it was hey man, they got, you know.
Well, Nuri is from the main streets of the San Fernando Valley, and even though we don't really speak about the valley as being this very violent part of our city, There are some pockets in the valley that it goes down, and
no doubt.
And
no
she's
doubt.
from those
She's
pockets.
from one of them. Okay, yeah. She sound like it.
Yeah, she definitely sounds like
she
it.
definitely sound like it.
But also, I want to ask about what does this do for black-brown relations in LA? Because every so often we go through this time where we try to bring black and brown together. There's two camps generally. The camp that says you're wasting your time, they don't like us, we don't like them. But then there's another camp that's constantly working on it, constantly bridging the gap, constantly bringing organizations together. And it's a struggle at the grassroots level where you have organizations and nonprofits trying to do this. But when you see at the highest level within city government that there's obviously a black-brown divide, to me, it just seems like, man, it's probably a hopeless cause to even try to bridge the gap. I don't want to be cynical, because I do believe that there are some good black folks and good brown folks that will work together in a positive way. But in terms of citywide movement, this pretty much puts a damper on that.
No doubt. And for me down here on the street level, Alex, the thing I'm gonna have, and I'm waiting for, somebody to tap in on it, and to call me out on it. But at the same time, where I'm gonna have a problem at is when some of our brown folks sit here and say that she done absolutely nothing wrong. Now, that's where we're gonna clash at. You know what I mean? Now, I would accept I'm still riding with her, but yeah, she fucked up. Yeah, she, bam. Acknowledge that she did. No matter what your opinion is on it, acknowledge she fucked up. You know what I mean? But for the person who sits there and say that she done nothing wrong, that's where I'm gonna have that's where the beef gonna come in with me at, and that's where the clash is gonna come in with a lot of black and brown people, because you're gonna get a lot of people. I'm already seeing a few people saying that I don't see nothing. I didn't hear nothing that was said wrong in the audio. You know what I mean? And what do you mean you don't hear nothing said wrong? And at least acknowledge that something, you know what I mean? But when you can't even acknowledge me, that let me know that you so deeply rooted on your side that you wouldn't give the black a chance, no matter what, So this is where the problem gonna come in at, especially in the streets.
Well, they had a big city council meeting this week in downtown Los Angeles at City Hall, and most of the protesters that spoke against Nuri Martinez and the rest of them were Latinos. So I was glad to see that they're not accepting their rhetoric, and they spoke against them. And there was a contingent of indigenous Mexicans that there's no way that she can't win them over, because she made those comments about the Oaxacans. She said they were ugly, and they're pissed as well. So if you say she didn't say anything to offend black people, that's one thing. But then she also offended the indigenous brown faction of Mexicans, because, Mexicans are divided too.
No doubt.
They're not all the same.
No doubt.
You got northerners, you got the middle ones, you got the ones that are way at the south in Chiapas. So those indigenous Mexicans they're not going to let her get away with this at all.
Well, like I say, for me, for a person to not even acknowledge it, you know what I mean? Because if the shoe is on the other end of the foot, I can at least acknowledge that this dude got caught doing something wrong, or got caught saying something wrong. Now, like I say, you bring the same audio and you say you was at somebody's house and y'all was having personal drinks and they said something of this nature. I ain't gonna lie, Alex, I wouldn't look at it the same. You know what I mean? Because you were just at somebody's pad chilling with them, and that's how you heard them say they feel, or your Hispanic girlfriend or Mexican girlfriend recorded this for you, and that's how they felt at that time in their home, in their personal space. When you get to talking about at the highest level of the Los Angeles County, city council members, this is way unacceptable, because this is what's keeping the divide. The divide in Los Angeles is when it's coming from the top, and best believe that this is going to spill over into the streets. I guarantee you it will, Alex. This is going to spill over into the streets, homie, because too many of us got opinions on it. You know what I mean? So it's unfortunately that this shit has to keep going down like this, when, like you say, you got people that's trying to build a gap. Reduce the gap between black and brown, but then here you go at your highest level of the LA City Council tearing it back down. So
yeah, there's 3 black council members as part of the 15 here in the city of LA, and we haven't heard none of those 3 say anything yet. And I'm guessing that they're having their powwow right now, trying to figure out what their move is going to be. We're talking about Marquise Harris Dawson, who's the youngest brother on the council, Curran Price, who is the council member of the district on the east side, so all the low bottoms. That's his area. And then Heather Hutt, who has the West Side. She's the newest one. But I'm just waiting for these black council members to come out in solidarity and say something powerful coming from them, which we haven't heard yet.
Well, you know, everybody is really getting their thoughts together. Everybody is looking at the ramifications of these three council people conversation. You know, everybody's taking it all in, analyzing everything, breaking it down. So when they do come say something, like you say, it is powerful because it's gonna be some real shit. You know what I mean? It's not going to be fabricated. It's going to be authentic shit that the whole Los Angeles and anybody else who care to listen heard Nuri Martinez say the things she said along with these two other councilmen.
Yeah, man. So Ron Herrera, who was the head of the Los Angeles County Federation of Labor, he's already stepped down from his job. And he's not a council member, so he has the least powerful position. But these other three are council members. And I believe that they're not going to last more than a couple more days. I wouldn't be surprised if Nuri Martinez is the one that puts up a fight, but I think Gil Cedillo and Kevin De Leon, their political careers are pretty much done at this point.
No doubt, I believe you, but I do think Nuri's going to put up a fight. You know, from me listening to her, she don't seem like she gonna give up easy. And but the thing about it is, it's going to be a shame because you're going to sit there and think that we're going to trust you in Los Angeles to lead anything with the kind of attitude that you possess towards African American black people and even some of your own. It's crazy, man.
Yeah, she definitely has a lot of anti-black sentiments, man. And I'm just surprised because, you know, these are Democrats that are from Los Angeles. They're supposed to be progressive. They're supposed to be against racism. We're in the post-George Floyd movement. And she talking like a Southern Dixiecrat, man. It's just wild.
Shit. Yeah, no doubt.
Let me see. Lastly, I wanted to read her apology because a lot of people sometimes want to forgive, and sometimes a good apology will can sometimes save you. But this is the release that she put out. She says, "I take responsibility for what I said, and there are no excuses for these comments. I'm so sorry. I sincerely apologize to the people I hurt with my words, to my colleagues, their families, especially to Mike, Sean, and your son." That would be Mike Bonin, and I guess Sean is his partner. "As a mother, I know better, and I'm sorry. I am truly ashamed. I know this is the result of my own actions. I'm sorry to your entire family for putting you through this. As someone who believes deeply in the empowerment of communities of color, I recognize my comments undercut that goal." No kidding. "Going forward, reconciliation will be my priority." That sounds like she wants to stay.
Right.
"I have already reached out to many of my black colleagues and other black leaders to express my regret in order for us to heal. I ask for forgiveness from my colleagues and from the residents of this city that I love so much. In the end, it's not my apologies that matter most. It will be the actions I take from this day forward. I hope you will give me the opportunity to make amends."
No, but it's two ways that I look at it two ways.
That was a good ass apology, though.
Hell of an apology.
Yeah,
you know what I mean. Hell of an apology.
Yeah.
See, that's why I say, you know, I understand shit from both sides. You know what I mean. So I understand that you gave a great apology. I understand as a political woman, you're not trying to get up out that seat at all. You trying to stay and make it right. What I also understand, Alex, is she's not the only one in politics, no matter what race you are, to talk like this. She fucking got caught. And that's where the politics part of it also is going to play a role, because just like you said, you wanted to be so many Hispanic seats and stuff like that. You have other races. You have whites, you have blacks, you have Asians who may feel the same way and going to use this as a way to try to get you out of there so they can put somebody else in that seat, because it seems like that's the game you were playing as well. You know what I mean? So I'm going to keep it 100 that, you know what I mean, politics is going to play a part outside of the negative shit she said, which was foul. Politics is going to play a part to get you up out of there also, because, you know, somebody else may want them seats. You know what I mean? Whether it's, like I say, the whites, whether it's the blacks, whether it's the Asians, whoever, those seats are going to become a pivotal point in what's going on in politics.
Well, all three of those seats are in mostly Latino communities, so we're probably going to start hearing from some other Mexican Americans to say, look, I don't think like Nuri. I don't think like Gil Cedillo. You will never have me.
My points. It may not be another, the race might not change in the seat, but at the same time, the seat will change and politics is going to play a part. Because like you say, it's other politicians that's coming up that's hungry, that's want to be there. They going to throw her under the bus too and say, you know what I mean? You need something fresh. You need a fresh start. You need a guy like me. Go look at my resume. I went to this church. And you know what I mean, Alex? So, but all honestly, I think she need to get her ass up out of there. And the other two as well, man. I don't think LA should sit right until them three is gone, bro.
Nah, man. LA will not be able to move forward with these three people as city council members for the second largest city in this country, man. So we'll wrap it up right there. My prediction is they'll all be gone by the time we do our next episode. And you might get a little fight from Nuri. She's a little feisty one, though.
She's a little feisty one, man. Hey, what city is bigger than Los Angeles?
New York City.
Oh, the city.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, New York City's got 8 million people. We got 4 million.
Yeah, we got 4.
Yeah.
LA County, I'm thinking LA County, we got about 10, 11.
Well, New York metropolitan area's got like 15.
Oh, no shit?
Yeah.
Okay, well, hey.
They call it the tri-state area.
Got you.
Yeah. But, shoot. Last words, man, before we wrap this up, F.
Hey, man, I believe this was a very informative show for a lot of people. I think they got to, see different understandings on how we, articulate the situations that we be talking about. But at the end of the day, Alex, like I say, the Nuri Martinez thing was, man, pretty disgusting as far as, being an LA City councilwoman, the top one at that. I believe that LA need to stand on that and get her up out of there, bro.
I think that's going to happen, man. I think that's going to happen. And that wraps up another episode of Streets and Scholars, man. Rest in peace to Half Ounce from Neighborhood Pyro in Inglewood. That was a good brother right there, man. I'm sorry to see him slain the way he was. Man. And where can they find you right now, man?
Yeah, hit me up. They've been hitting me up too, Alex, over there on Instagram at FGeneral1 on Instagram. And of course, I see I'm still tapping in the videos at FG Unleash. I appreciate it. And that's where I'm at.
All right, man. And people can hit me up at Alex Alonso 101. I'm mostly on Twitter, Facebook, and Instagram. And of course, you can visit the Street TV YouTube channel where I'm constantly posting videos. I actually posted a video with all these audios that we spoke about. And it's in much more detail there where you can see the name of the person that's actually talking with the transcript. And what else? If you're listening to us on I want to say iTunes, but iTunes has just been phased out by Apple. So if you're listening to us on Apple Podcasts, we'd really appreciate a rating and review. And if you're listening to us on all the other podcast platforms, whether it's iHeart or Spotify, follow us there. And thanks for tapping in with another fire episode of Streets and Scholars.